Tonight on Behind the Details with Chelsea, we're going to hear the inspiring story from Kelly Jones from Showroom Auto Detailing and Royal Reflections. At one point, Kelly lost everything and has been able to build a successful business and career. And for those of you that are wanting to know how to dream big, we're going to sit down with Kelly and find out a little bit about her story. So let's go ahead and get started with the show. Good evening, everybody. We are so glad that you could join us tonight. I'm so honored Kelly could join me. I know that you are a very busy woman, so I'm thankful that you took the time to sit down. For those of you that are not familiar with Kelly Jones, you do a little bit of social media, but you're not like heavily on social media because all of your jobs probably just take up so much of your time. But you can see the banner behind her. She is the owner of Royal Reflections, which is a product line that you helped develop. Fantastic products, by the way. I've worked with all of them over the years. They're really great products. And you also own Showroom Auto Detailing, as well as a plethora of other businesses that aren't necessarily detailing related, but we can get into like all of that a little bit more. But for those of you that have tuned in, Kelly is someone that has always inspired me when it comes to dreaming big, to just really not questioning what God can do when you pursue God. And so if you guys have questions for Kelly tonight about how to grow business or anything that she discusses, by all means, put your questions in the comment section. And we're going to answer all you guys' questions as we get into the show. But Kelly, welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you could be here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm just so honored. Thank you.
No problem. My pleasure. So, Kelly, for those that aren't familiar with some of your story, I know you shared it with me in the past. We actually did an episode a while back on kind of business tips and things like that on my YouTube channel. But for
Oh,
those that aren't familiar, would you mind just kind of sharing a little bit of your story? It's so interesting when it comes to how you got your start in detailing. I feel like a lot of people kind of start in a similar situation out of desperation. So would you mind sharing your story with all of us? How you got your start
yeah,
into detailing?
yeah, absolutely. So I have to go back 16 years. I've been detailing 16 years now. It's just crazy how fast time flies. But I was a lender for the government. I specialized in FHA, rural development, VA loans for veterans. So I had an awesome job. I made a lot of money. I was just really, really successful in the industry. I thought I would do that my whole entire life. I never seen myself doing something else. I absolutely loved what I did, and I made a lot of money, and it was great. So the big surprise happened in 2007, 2008 when the economy crashed and we had this huge economic downturn, right? So they put lending freezes on and it just started trickling down from there. So they kept on calling us in for meetings and they were taking away or lowering our insurance, which we had like the best Blue Cross and everything, and then they lowered it down to a different policy and they started just lowering and cutting everything, and you could kind of see what was happening, but you didn't want to see what was happening. But they were very, very quickly reducing everything from our expense accounts to our insurance packages, benefits, just all kinds of stuff. Well, to make a long story short, they ended up shutting down like 31 of our branches just in Michigan, and 1,400 of us lost our jobs that I know of, probably more than that I don't even know of. But I'll never forget the day. I was the last one out of the office. It was December 22nd. I locked up the office, left, came back the next morning, and my key didn't work in the door. And this was literally, a 15-hour span or something maybe. So I call my boss and he shows up there. He's like, I'll be right there. And literally they must have went in the night before and boxed up our whole entire office. I walked into my office with everything of mine, my kids' pictures. I mean, literally all my words, everything in boxes with my name on it. Talk about a shock.
Yeah,
Merry
you had no
Christmas,
plan. No plan
No,
whatsoever.
no.
Holy cow.
And so at the time I thought, this is okay. It's a couple days before Christmas. I'll just take a little bit of time off. I'm going to get hired back in this industry in no time, because I had been doing that for, gosh, I think about 13 years at the time, maybe
Did you
10,
have
10
did
years
you
or so.
have a savings?
Yes, I did. And
Oh
I
God.
taught credit counseling. I taught my borrowers. I worked with a lot of first-time borrowers, first-time homeowners. I helped them get their credit in order. So I knew to always have that 3-month cushion, right? So I had 3 months in my savings account, but I had just built a great big house and I had a big mortgage. I had a brand new Escalade. I had sports cars. I had a boat. The kids had quads. I mean, we had to have all the stuff, right? But
Hmm.
I didn't have any problems paying the bills because I had income that supported all that at the time.
Yeah.
So I had 3 months in my savings and I thought, well, I'm good. I'll just, after the holidays, I'll start applying for jobs and I'll just get another job like that. Well, guess what? That was not the case. I had my resume out across the country. And mind you, this is back in like 2008, 2009. Well, I started the detail shop in 2009. So it's like 2008 and the internet wasn't like it is now. So you had to
Yeah.
kind of do stuff old school, right? So I
Pen and
started
paper, brick and
panicking.
mortar.
Yeah. So I started really panicking. I'm like, man, I'm not getting called and I've got my resume out and applications out all over the place and nobody's hiring. So my savings account is dwindling down fast. When that's literally your only source of income coming in, well, then I started getting unemployment, but it was only like $300 a week. I mean, I made almost 300 grand a year. You go to that, I mean, that's a huge, huge
Yeah.
shock, you know?
Yeah.
So that $300 I was getting a week or whatever it was didn't do anything. So I'm starting to panic. So I'm like, okay, I got to get a plan in order. So I called around to get the cars detailed because I knew even though my Escalade was only about a little over a year old, it was black and I knew that it would sell faster if I got it all shined up and detailed, you know? And, um, and I thought, well, I better get one economical vehicle instead of having all these vehicles, you know, and one I can just drive all year. And I was trying to like reduce payments real quick because I'm thinking, man, I only have my savings account was going fast. 3 months goes by like this. I mean,
Yeah.
16 years of detailing has already went by like this for me, you know? So I started freaking out and I'll never forget the day, you know, I'm starting to max out credit cards, like doing all the things I've always told my borrowers never to do. So I'm maxing out credit cards.
Mhm.
I'm going through my savings. I ended up having to do my house ended up going in foreclosure. Oh, I can't even, I get anxiety just thinking about it because it was such a bad time in my life and I was running out of resources. So I ended up having to do a hardship withdrawal of my 401k and literally liquidated my 401k to save my house from foreclosure and basically to start a detail business. But let me rewind a little bit back. So I wanted to get the cars detailed so that I could sell them quicker and get a better price out of them because I knew if they were like perfectly waxed and the windows were net, you know, everything was all perfect, I'd
Yeah.
get more money. So
So
I
we
called
think.
out, yeah, so we think, right?
Yeah.
So I called around this local area and I had just moved here in 2007 and this is 2008. So I really didn't have much connection here, you know? So I
You're
called
in
around the,
you're in Michigan, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But the town I had built my house in, I had just moved to like a year before that in 2007. So this is like 2008-ish, middle of 2008 probably by now. So I'm calling around to get the cars detailed and I called all the local car dealerships and I'll never forget one of them made a joke with me when I was on the phone because I'm trying to ask them, you know, I got to get rid of my vehicles. Oh, they want you to trade it in. I'm like, no, I'm not trading it in. I have to sell these outright. I want to just get them shined up, you know? So one of the dealership guys made a joke with me at the time and he says, why don't you start a detail shop? I'll send you everything I have because there's nobody in the area doing it. And I'll never forget that phone call because I was so insulted
Hmm.
that day.
Oh,
Huh?
really? You weren't like challenge accepted?
No, I was insulted. I'm like, what?
Oh,
Do you know who I am? I'm a high-end mortgage. I write
okay.
big deal, you know, like I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna clean a car. What?
Mhm.
No way. I didn't even pump my own gas, Chelsea. It was so bad. I used to go to the full service gas stations. I didn't know anything about a car. Nothing. Nothing. I knew how to drive it and that was it. You know, pull into the full service gas station, pull into the oil change places. That's all I knew.
So it was
So for me to
definitely a reality check.
if God can knock you off of your high horse, girl, he knocked me way off. I hit the floor hard because this was a big, you know, when you think you're way up here and you don't think
Mhm.
anything can ever happen to you, you almost feel like invincible when you're on top of the mountain, right? And then when you fall, it is hard. It is so humbling. And that's why now I have just like, I give God all the credit and all the praise and all the glory for all these businesses, because I really truly believe, and I try so hard to let my businesses impact others and show the light of Jesus, right? So I always give God the praise. If you come into my fitness center and my gym, we're playing, upbeat Christian music, and we got a Bible out on the table there. And we actually have people that will fellowship. They'll sit down at the gym and they'll talk and they'll look through the Bible. And we actually have Bible studies, like every which way I can. I'm always just planting seeds for God, because I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for him. So I got to back up to the story. So what's that?
No, I said I love that.
Oh yeah, so I fell really hard during that time. I was losing everything. I was in a tailspin, out of control. I started drinking alcohol. I started trying to do things like that to kind of like cover up my pain. I didn't know what to do. So guess what I should have done? Now I know this. I should have got my Bible out and I should have started praying, right? I should have started going towards God, but I did everything the opposite, and I went way away from God. I did.
You were trying to do it in your own strength.
Yes, I was. And I was failing miserably. I'll never forget the day that was a huge turning point for me. I was on my hands and knees. I had 30 days to be out of my house. My kids would come home from school. They were little at the time, like 8, 10, 12 years old, and they'd come home and yeah, they'd say they hated me because we couldn't take the Disney vacations. We weren't getting our hair done and our nails done and shopping all the time and stuff. And they just didn't understand what was going on. They were little people, they had a certain lifestyle, and then they go from that to, we can't even go get our hair done. It was a big, and you know what? But in hindsight, all these years later, so this has been 16 years. I am so proud of my kids, because that time that we went through has made them so successful. They are the hardest workers and literally the best people I know. They are my network, honestly. When I have an idea, I call my kids. We're in family group chats. I bounce all my ideas off of my kids, because they know what we went through to get to where we are now. And they give me the most honest, heartfelt, sometimes hurtful advice ever, but I'm just so thankful of what has came out of that super, super hard time in our life, because I feel like we have all just grown so close to the Lord and just really have a deep appreciation for where we are now, But yeah, I almost took my life over this. I never will forget this day. I was in my living room on the floor, and had 30 days to be out of my house. And I'm thinking, I don't even know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I literally am broke on food stamps, trying to get, the state to pay for my propane in the tank so we have heat. I mean, it was rock bottom financially. I had no resources left, and I had to end up filing a bankruptcy, and it was just horrible. And I'll never forget, I was on my floor in my living room praying, and I was just telling God, because my dad always told me, don't you ever commit suicide. That's not an option, And so I'm praying to God, and I'm just saying, like, what did I do to deserve it? Like, how did I end up here, And I'll never forget this. I was asking God to forgive me if I took my life and still take me to heaven, as crazy as it is. And I'll never forget, when I was saying this prayer, this commercial came on TV, and it really spoke to my heart. And I'll never forget it. It rings in my ears true to this day. 16 years ago, it was a commercial came on, and it said, be your own boss, unlimited income potential, set your own schedule, auto detailing 101. And I was like, what? I remember hearing this so loudly, like I feel like God was speaking to me through that TV commercial and telling me. So I already knew there was a need for detailing in the area, because I couldn't find a place to get my cars detailed. And I knew I needed money really, really bad. And then this commercial comes on TV, and I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I can do this. Maybe I'll detail cars from my home garage till I get a lending job, till I get back in lending, right? So I ended up taking this class, which is why I'm so passionate about trying to help others and teach others, and just try to help them the way that this class helped me. So I went out, I had to borrow money from my parents, take this class, a very, very basic, only interiors. I started just learning interior work, very basic, like the most basic interior work. I was super scared to touch paint, so I never did exteriors for like 2 or 3 years into my business. I didn't even wash a car. I'd only clean interiors. But I'll never forget that class and how nice the people were to me. The men, it was all men. I was the only woman there, and it was so intimidating because I didn't know anything, and I felt so stupid because they're talking about all these terms. I had no idea what even a door jam was, or like any of these things. And I'm like trying to take notes, and I'm like, finally, the one guy, one of the instructors, he comes up to me after class and he says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I just lost it." I start bawling. I'm like, "I don't know. I got to learn this. I'm losing it." I just spill my whole guts to him. And he's like, then he started being so nice to me. He's like, "Okay, we'll get you going. Don't worry. If you have any questions, there's no stupid question." And I just appreciated that so much. And I ended up coming home from the class, and I made little, like flyers on my computer at home, just a Word document. And I put at the bottom, like my phone number with all the little cuts to where I went around and hung them on every tack board in my area, like, at the restaurants and the oil change places, and taped up these little signs everywhere I could put one. And the next day I got a phone call. I'll never forget the guy, my very first detail job, literally the next day. It was just such a godsend. Just amazing. And I was so excited to clean this guy's car, and I'll never forget this guy. He was so happy when he picked it up. It took me 8 hours. And you want to know what I started my business with? So, girl, I'm broke. I have no money to buy tools, so I'm scavenging around my house. So I took some old toothbrushes that the kids had in their bathroom cabinet. I took some old washcloths from around the house. I cleaned every car with Dawn dish soap in a bucket of hot water. I had an old shop vac in the garage, and my mom bought me a few years back a little green steam machine. Those little tiny green, you buy them at Walmart for like $99. That's how I started my business, in a box of Q-tips. So Q-tips, toothbrushes, old washcloths, Dawn dish soap, and which is why my product line is so passionate for me now, because I literally started with Dawn dish soap for like 3 years. That's all I cleaned cars with, was Dawn dish soap in a bucket of hot water. Yes.
Oh, how you have
I,
grown since then, girl. Seriously.
I
But I mean, we all
know.
start somewhere. I think I started off with the little Armor All little polisher that you can buy for like $35 at Walmart. Pretty
Mhm.
sure every McGuire's retail product, some stoners. So yeah, you do what you got to do to get the job done, and you
Yeah.
learn along the way, and you
Hmm.
develop along the way and buy things. You have to like constantly just reinvest in yourself, and that's what I'm kind of
Hmm.
curious. So like you started off very basic. Like what did those first few years, months look like for you as you were growing?
I think I cried every single day. I literally cried every day. My
Did
body would
because
hurt.
you loved it so much?
Why?
Because you love detailing so much? Or what?
The absolute opposite. Every day my back would hurt. I'd have a kink
Mm,
somewhere. I'm scrubbing a headliner, and I'm like, oh, then I get kinked up, and then I'm like, reaching in between seats. My hands are cut up. I have 100 scars on my hands right now. My hands are
yeah.
horrible.
Same. I
Under
have like literal cuts all over my hands too.
I know. It was brutal. And now I tell people that come to work in my detail shop, I'm like, dude, this is the Taj Mahal. We started out with no air compressor. Now we use air tools on air. I mean, it's like we can detail a whole interior in an hour and a half now, like perfect, because we have all the right tools and the right products too, right? But back then, yes, I was literally toothbrushing seat tracks and Q-tip and seat tracks and cutting my hands up underneath of there. And oh, girl, it was bad. It was brutal. My kids would get home, and they were just so proud of me. They were just little people, and they'd run off the school bus and throw their backpacks down. They'd be like, "Mom, we can help you," because they knew we needed money. Like, if we lose our house, we're like, we don't know what to do. So at those little ages, my kids would come home, and they would be in charge of doing the tire shine. Once we did exteriors, or they were in charge of floor mats. They loved helping me scrub the floor mats. And then as the kids grew, my kids helped me. They were my workforce. It was me and the kids. I'd work all day, and then they'd get home and help me after school for a little bit. Then we'd have dinner, do homework, and then I'd be back out in the garage, because a lot of times I'd still have to work, because I wouldn't get stuff done during the day if I had a bad car with a bunch of pet hair. Oh, I was never so happy till the day somebody stopped by one of those box trucks. I forget what it was called, Vesco Oil, I think, or something. He had I used to call it the shopping mall on wheels for detailers. And he'd come in and it'd be stocked with all this stuff. And I'll never forget the day. This is like 5, 6 years into detailing cars. And he showed me a pet stone, a pet rock, and pet hair tools. I was in this Ford Escape. I'll never forget. I'm sitting in the back of it. It is the most dog hair I might have even still seen in my life. Maybe not. I've seen a lot of bad ones still.
I was
I
going to
was
say you
sitting
had
there.
Doberman, so you had short pet hair, so you can
Yeah,
you can understand.
yeah, but this hair was just stuck in everything. And I'm sitting there just I'm trying everything I can think of. And I'm literally I'm picking hair up. So it's weaved in that fiber in the back behind the seats in this Ford Escape. Oh, I cried. He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm having the worst day ever. My hands literally hurt from picking out dog hair." He goes, "You need to try this." And I'll never forget. I was like, oh, he's like, such a blessing to me that day. I was so happy to buy a pet stone and they just start raking it out. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I never know that?
Honestly, I think I wanted to kiss the first person that showed me a pumice stone as well. So pet hair is, I think, most detailers' nemesis. Um,
Oh gosh, it changed my life. And then when I was actually able to buy a real steam cleaner, a commercial steamer, and I was able to buy an extractor, man, I thought I was just moving right up in the world. And then, over this time, I started developing a passion for this. I started loving the transformation and how happy people were when they picked their car up. And I just got some really crazy satisfaction out of the transformation process. And so, as time went by, I worked 7 years in my home garage. I didn't have heat. I didn't have running water in my garage. It was a regular home garage. It wasn't set
mhm.
up for working. And so it
Like me.
was tough. Hmm?
I was saying like me. Go ahead.
You don't have heat in your garage either?
No, no, no. I was saying having a home-based garage and having the basic setup, I can understand. But go ahead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was tough for a lot of years. We'd have to go in the house and make coffee or hot tea just to warm our hands up because in the winter times it gets cold in Michigan. Finally, I got actually my very first detail customer ended up buying me a little salamander, like a little kerosene heater to put in my garage, and that was really nice until we accidentally put the wrong gas. We put gas in it instead of kerosene. We're like, oh no, we ruined that thing. Yeah, that was not good.
Okay. I'm glad you're still alive. So
Yeah,
then
that
how
was,
did you go from a home-based detailing business to like where you're at now? Or what was the dream for you
oh
as you were growing your business?
yeah, so this is a good story. So I told my kids, everybody was making fun of me detailing cars. Like everybody, even my family, they were saying like, "You're gonna do what? Like nobody's gonna pay for that. Like you don't even know how to do that. Why are you thinking you can do that?" I had everybody coming down on me because I was good at lending. I made a lot of money. Like they wanted to see me get back into that, not put all my energy into cleaning cars. They wanted me
Mhm.
to still be out there pounding the pavement looking for a lending job. And, so I had a lot of people just not believing in me, I guess, but I felt that the Lord had planted this in my heart and I just felt so strongly about it that something was going to come out of it one day. So I'm huge into vision boards. When I was in college, I took a class called interpersonal communications, and the whole class was on the book of the law of attraction, The Secret. And I loved that book. And then I ended up getting the movie and watched all the movies. And it's all about like the law of attraction, right? Like you're a magnet. What you think about, your thoughts are so powerful. Our self talk, vision boards. This is when I started learning about vision boards. And in that class, I actually made my first vision board as a project in the class. And then I've always just continued to make them after that. Now my kids make vision boards. My little granddaughter's got a vision board in her bedroom. It's the cutest thing ever. But I should send you the pictures I had on my vision board way back then. So it's my first year in detailing. And I remember I'm dreaming big. I'm going to make something. I'm going to be a business owner. I'm going to really show everybody that I can detail cars. So I put on my vision board. I took a $1 bill, but I took a Sharpie and I made it into $100,000 bill. And I'm like, I'm going to eventually make $100,000 detailing cars. And everyone's like, there's no way. Like, we're in a super small rural area, major agriculture, lots of dirt roads, like who's going to really want to get their car shined up to drive back down a dirt road was like everybody's thought process, right? So I made this $100,000 bill, put it on my vision board. And then I found in a magazine like this house it was a garage with a house above it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to build a commercial detail shop one day and I'm going to live up above it. I'm going to have a commercial shop and I'm going to live upstairs and it's going to be just so amazing. So this picture was on my vision board for 7 years. It took me 7 years to make $100,000 in my detail business. 7 years. My first year I made $7,000. I mean, my next year I made 13,000. The next year I was like 23,000. And then it just kept on going up. But then I got stuck in like the 70s and I'm like, man, I was just kind of plateauing out. And then finally, I started really learning exteriors and adding in some additional services and stuff. And that took it to the next level. And I remember I was outgrowing, I'd wake up in the morning. So at one point I was working for 11 car dealerships. I would literally wake up in the morning and I had a huge long wraparound driveway with a circle in it. And then it went all the way up to the road, probably like 400 feet. And I'd wake up in the morning and I would just thank the Lord because there would be cars lined up out the driveway because the dealerships would get them from auction and they just drop them off and they'd throw the keys in a little drop box or leave the keys in them. And we would have cars lined up to the road. And I remember one day I was just like, I can't do this from my house garage anymore. This is so hard, because I'd have to take all the cars to the car wash, which is about a quarter of a mile away, wash them at the car wash, prep them, then drive them back to my house, which was on a dirt road, and get them into the garage and try not to get them dirty. So I would drive like a turtle back, but I'd still pick up dirt. So then I'm like trying to
nobody move.
yeah. So then I'm trying to hand wash them again when I get home, but I didn't have water in my garage. So I'd have to go in the house, fill up the bucket from the bathtub, bring the water out. Like it was just a nightmare.
Girl, you're working hard.
Yes, I earned all the dollars I made so far. Very, very much earned every one of them. But I remember praying again one day and I'm like, Lord, if you want me to keep doing this job, I need to make this commercial detail shop happen. So I prayed about it and I said, I'm going to throw my house on Zillow. And if it sells, I know it's meant to be. And if it doesn't sell, I'm not meant to do it. Girl, I took some pictures of my house, put it on Zillow. It got in a bidding war and it sold in 3 weeks, more than I even asked for it.
Now, what year was this? Do you remember?
This was 2000 and I built this shop here in 2016. So in 2016, yep.
Okay. So it's right before the market so that's good. But I'm going to show you guys a picture. So you tell me, because you sent me pictures of your shop/home. You tell me when is a good time to show those pictures because I think you guys are going. Okay. So this is the front picture here of what you were able to build, which when I saw the completed project of this, I don't think you guys realize the scale of what Kelly has been able to build. I mean, you pan out. That's just like jaw-dropping. Like I'm so impressed, Kelly. Like I'm proud of you because that is hard work and that is toothbrushes and Q-tips and rags and Dawn dish soap and cut fingers that have paid for that. That is extremely impressive.
Yeah.
So you have, and this is a picture of the home that you have above.
Yep.
And then this is inside your shop, which is that the area that you're sitting in now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So you have a huge shop and then you have a second shop that you built. Was this years after?
Yeah, I just built this one in 2022. Well, I started it in the end of 2019, and then the whole COVID thing hit and the supply chain got crazy. So I put it on hold. We had the foundation in the ground, and then the building prices were going through the roof. Oh Lord, that's a whole nother story. So it was a real challenge to get this thing completed with massive supply chain issues. Just the prices were going through the roof, but I did finish it, got the certificate of occupancy for that building in 2022. So the end of 2022.
And this allows you to do RVs and boats and larger projects.
Yeah, but now it's kind of taken over the product line. That's now my product warehouse because we get all the products in 55-gallon drums and then we bottle them in there. We label them in there. We are super hands-on with distributing. So that building has pretty much taken over. The product line has taken over that building now.
Okay. And do you, I mean, I saw you did a while back ago. Do you do trainings there as well or classes?
Yeah, I just started. Well, I did them for a little while and then life kind of happened and I started opening multiple other businesses and then I stopped doing the classes and Yeah, kind of more. I do more of them on like a private basis. So I do more like, for example, I just had a shop come and a fella came and brought some of his employees. So we did kind of more of like a intimate, where the classes aren't so big. So we have a lot of one-on-one and lots of hands-on stuff. So, but it is definitely something I want to continue getting into more and more, especially now that I have all the space. It just makes sense. And I have such a passion for it because that's how I got started. If that class wasn't available back then, I'd never be where I'm at right now,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. If YouTube wasn't around, I don't know where I would be because I'm pretty much self-taught from YouTube. There wasn't even anything like that near me. But what do you think you attribute to your success as far as just from where you started to where you're at now? Like if you could look back, what do you think are some of the things that really that like those moments allowed you to become as successful as you are?
I just think perseverance really, like there's so many times I wanted to give up. And even during COVID, I was just like, oh, I'm so over it. Like it just has been so hard since COVID too. So I've been just running into one stumbling block after the next, but I have to keep reminding myself that quitting doesn't get you anywhere, right? I mean, just perseverance and just praying, a lot of prayer and a lot of faith in God, and just understanding that He tells us, I have a plan for you. I have plans to never harm you, to prosper you, and give you hope in a future, right? So those are the words I really hang on to, is I know that God has a plan and a purpose. And this business has allowed me to raise 4 children, build other businesses to help so many more people. And I just am so thankful that I took the risk and decided to do this. I really am.
Steve wants to know, did you have any employees before building your shop?
No, I didn't. For all those years at my house, it was just me and my kids. And then a couple in the summertime, we'd recruit some of their friends, and their friends would come help us vacuum and stuff. But no, I didn't get employees until I built this detail shop, because we were in our home. I didn't want people having to come inside my house, use my bathroom. We didn't have, it was
Yeah.
tough at home. So no, we didn't have any employees until I built this. And yeah,
So it was
but
legitimately like the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come.
mhm.
Holy
Yeah, and then
cow.
it just took my business. Now my business is better than when I ever worked in the bank, honestly. Plus the freedom that comes with it. I've been able
Mhm.
to, go to my kids' field trips and just come home late and work on cars, or, the freedom with it is just amazing. I mean, it's hard work. I put in a lot of hours a week still. I'm out here, I don't even know. One week I punched a time clock because I told my employees, I'm like, 40 hours is nothing. I'm like, I'm going to really punch a time card like you guys do every week. And that week I got in like 108 hours or something. Like, yeah, that's the life of a business owner. It doesn't quit at 5 p.m.
Someone said, "What's the house on the side for?" And I think if J Farm 13, you asked that question. That I'm assuming it's the shop, the larger building on the left, and that's where you now have your warehouse for your product line, Royal
Well,
Reflections. But
I don't know if I can point on there, but the
sure, sure,
big
sure. Let me
building
put
is
that
the
back up.
warehouse. Yeah, the big, huge building there that's almost all blue is the warehouse. And then in the back, actually, that building has a basement under it, and the back is a
Okay.
full living quarter. So I actually have a wellness spa back there right now. But the building that says showroom auto detailing on the front, the upstairs is where I live. The downstairs is those 3 bays we call them the dry bays, where we do all of our finish work, right? We do all of our interior work there. We do all of our waxing, ceramic coating, window tint in the 3 bays there. And then the bay with the big door that sits back a little bit, that's my wash bay. So we do all the power washing in there, and it's completely separate. We can open up, there's a big door that we can pull down, a roll down door to completely separate those bays. So if we're power washing in there, it doesn't get over to the dry side. And then that building where that pickup's at, right in front of that, that's my office and a storefront. So in there, we sell all the products. We sell brushes, towels, all kinds of detailing tools. And then there's 2 offices and a bathroom and a waiting area for my customers. So yeah, that in front of that truck there, that's our office area in our little
Wow.
storefront.
I think you
Mhm.
just did such a great job designing that. I know I was talking to Adam Zirin last week when we did our podcast, and he actually said he wants to build like a barn dominium with a shop on it. And I was like, you need to listen to Kelly. Maybe you should
Aw.
like sell your floor plan to other detailers because I feel like it's a really great design. I've seen some of the pictures that you've shown online. Would you say is it a what 2 bed, 3 bed house that you have
Yeah, three
upstairs?
bedrooms. Yep, there's 3 bedrooms upstairs. It's actually 2,800 square foot upstairs. It's like a
Holy
full house.
cow!
Yeah, it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a full, like a kitchen, living room, laundry room, den area.
He is
Um,
here. Good. Drago. Maybe connect with Kelly and she can give you the floor plan. That is
Yeah, I
awesome.
literally designed the building myself. It was like the Flintstone drawings, but I had such a vision in my mind from my vision board, staring at my vision board. So I hung my vision board right in my kitchen. Back then we had a landline phone, so you'd have to stand there and look at the vision board when you're on the phone the whole time, you know? And so we looked at it every day. It was right in the kitchen, you know? And but I gotta send you the picture of what I had on my vision board. It's a fraction of that building. It literally had like 2 garage doors and a little tiny house above. And look what God's blessed me with.
Yeah. I
Crazy.
mean, I honestly think you're living the dream that a lot of detailers couldn't even like try to dream. So
I
it's
know, but
very, very
it's
impressive, Kelly.
it's such a blessing, and I am so thankful. But I don't want to put it. I don't want to take the credit.
Oh, I
It is
know. You're the
massive
most
prayer.
humble person I know. You are the most humble person that I know. Like she and I were talking through all of this, and just to give you guys some backstory, like I wanted to make the thumbnail a certain, and I don't want to say clickbait, but something that would kind of draw you guys in. And she was dead set against it because she didn't want to come off at all boastful. Because the one thing that I have always respected most about you is that you give all the glory to God, that you know that he brought you out of that and has given you everything. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not showing you guys all these pictures and that she's not showing that to brag. It's just dream big and with God, all things are possible, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's such a dream come true. It really is, and I'm just so thankful. And I tell everybody all the time. You know, I tell them the story, and I'm not afraid. For a long time, I was so embarrassed, and I was super afraid to tell the story because it was just it's embarrassing, you know, and we don't want to go through hardship in life. Nobody does. I mean, nobody really loves. I mean, I still stumble. The COVID thing has set me back. I'm having a hard time with employees and supply chain issues and bottling and oh my Lord, I could just go on and on and on. And it's tough, you know, it is so tough. And so I don't ever want to take all the credit, you know, because it's God's plan and God's purpose for my life. I really believe that.
so tell me a little bit about your product line, Royal Reflections. A lot of people probably here haven't heard of it or tried it. So can you tell me a little bit about your product line, what made you want to develop it, and how did you develop it?
Yeah, sure. You know, and that's something I need help with too. And I'm never afraid to say that I need help like marketing my product. That's the next step is I really need to get it more out there, like in social media, in people's hands, market the product more because I truly believe I have the best product line out there. I've been detailing 16 years now and I've tried all the products out there. Not that it's the, you know, there's still other absolutely great products and my chemist makes most of the products that we all use, you know, but, yeah, I really feel like we worked super hard on it. I never seen this coming. It's another God story. You know, I was struggling with detailing. I'm starting to get arthritis in my hands, and the winters are still brutal here. And I was praying one day and I just, you know, asked God, like, what is the next step for me? Am I going to detail till the day I die? Because I don't really want to, you know, and my hands are getting so bad. And there'll be days where my hands are just cramped up from arthritis starting in a minute. Mostly just in the winter because the winters are so damp and brutal here. Summertime, I don't have a problem, but it was getting tough. And I just feel like God really opens doors, and I feel like it was a door that got opened that I never seen coming. I went to an event and I ended up meeting this chemist there that I didn't even know was a chemist. I just got in conversation because I love to talk to people, and people are always curious when I do go to an event. Not so much anymore because a lot of women are getting involved in the industry, but you got to think back, you know, 10, 15 years ago, there really
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of females in the industry. So when I would go to events, they'd always ask me, how did you get into this and what are you doing? You know, like basically I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb almost. I was really out of place a lot of times, but I didn't let that stop me from attending, you know, mobile tech and going to SEMA and going to some of these events and classes and stuff because I wanted to learn more and I wanted to add more services, especially with the ceramic coatings and stuff like that to my business. And that's when ceramics were just starting to come out. I mean, that was I went and took a class out in Pennsylvania at Detail King. I love Nick. He's a great guy. I don't know. I haven't seen too much of him lately, but that was one of the classes I took for ceramic coatings. And I think that was like 2014 I took that class. And I met a lot of people out there taking that ceramic coating class. And but anyways, I was at an event out in Colorado, and I met my chemist at a meet and greet event, and we just got chit chatting. He said, "Where are you from?" And I told him I was from Michigan, and come to find out he was from Michigan. And so we just started chatting and got into some good conversation. And he said, "Well, what do you see yourself doing? What's your plans?" And I'm like, "You know what? I don't know. I'm struggling with that right now because my body's kind of falling apart, and I'm just not sure what the next steps are, you know?" And he said, "Have you
Yeah.
ever thought about creating a product line?" And no, never. I don't even know the first thing about that or how to start that or how I'd get money for that. You know, I had no clue how much any of that would cost or anything. And he said, "Well," and then he introduced himself, and I was kind of like starstruck because I had heard of his name. And I'm like, "What?" I didn't even know that's who I was talking to, you know? And he said, "Let's make a product." He said, "What would you make if you could make one product?" And I said, "You know what? Probably a car wash soap, you know, because that's what we use the most of. I feel like we still go
Not
through
Dawn.
tons." No, not I did tell him about that story. I'm like, "You know what I used for like probably the first 4 years of detailing cars? Dawn dish soap, literally only Dawn dish soap." And he's like, "Well, what would you make?" So I told him I'd love to make a car wash soap. And so we just got chatting, and he said, "Well, what would be your ideal product?" You know, so I'm just dreaming big again. You know, I'm like, "Oh, it'd be hot pink and it'd smell good and it would, you know, have lots of surfactants and lots of foam." And I just, you know, I was just dreaming out loud about this, fantasizing about this potential car wash soap that I didn't even think I'd ever be able to make. And so he says, "Write me down your address. I'll make you a few samples and send you some stuff." So I didn't even think he'd remember me after this event, but I wrote my name and address down on a napkin and gave it to him. And sure enough, in a couple weeks, he sent me, I come back home, and my mom works in the office. My mom's actually one of my main secretaries. And she says, "You got a package." And I'm thinking, "Oh gosh, what did I get now?" So I
What
go
did I
and look,
order
and
on Amazon?
I'm like, "Another Amazon package. Oh no." But it was a box of little car wash soap samples. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And he hand wrote me a little letter in there, and he said, "Try
Aw.
these out and call me." And yeah, so that's how the product line was born. And that's a whole nother story in itself. I got to tell you what, it is such a
Take me
powerful.
back to your stock room. You showed me at the beginning. Would you mind picking me up and showing us back your some of your products?
What's that?
Would you
Move.
mind picking up your phone and just take me back to your room to show people some of your products? Because you actually have some really great products.
Yeah, I can if you want to take. I wish I knew how to turn this camera around because I could give you a little tour inside of my shop, but I don't know how to turn the camera around.
That's all right. We can deal with shakiness, right, everyone?
Or
Is that
just
your
go through the
truck?
wash. Yeah.
Dude,
I
that's a
need to do.
huge truck, Kelly. You're so small.
I know, I love this truck. This was on my vision board a couple years ago. I always wanted one of these Black
Holy
Widows.
crap.
Girl, I detailed one of these trucks for a customer, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I loved this thing so much." And I was like, "You know what? I think I'm going to add that to my vision board." And look at what is in my shop
How do you
with my
even
name on it.
reach the roof?
And
You're like 5 foot.
and look, I really have to prove it to you. See that? Even got a
Nice.
personalized license plate. I believe in vision boards. I believe in them so much. It's crazy, but yeah, here's I don't know. I wish I could turn my camera around. So this is like
Okay.
our little storefront. So we have just a bunch of products stocked up in here. From, I don't know if you can see that. So we have like gallons and we have pints
Yep.
and we have. Can you see it?
Yep. So I'll tell you guys, I've used her ceramic waterless shampoo, or waterless wash, and that is
Mhm.
probably one of my favorites that you sell. It smells so good. It works so good as
Yeah.
a ceramic waterless wash. You have a double-edged sword, your heavy degreaser. That one is a phenomenal tire cleaner. Trying to
Oh yeah.
see. You've
I'm
got an
trying to.
off-road series. I saw your off-road series
Oh,
there on the left.
sorry. Gosh, I wish I knew how to flip this camera around.
Yeah, all
Can
right.
you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a popular product. This is my Mud Slayer off-road wash. Actually, it's very similar to the double-edged sword. It works very, very similar. I love this product for heavy, even like farm tractors. I get lawn care companies that buy this for cleaning their lawnmowers.
Mhm.
Tons of guys buy it. We also have like 5-gallon buckets. I don't know if you can see these down here on the
Yep.
floor. We got 5-gallon buckets out, and we can get them in 55s. But a lot of guys will buy the 5-gallon buckets for like heavy equipment that
Mhm.
run excavating companies and stuff like that. Yep, ceramic wax. This is a popular product. I think you
That
did a video on this one. My
I did. That's
biohazard maybe?
awesome on headliners and just like for cleaning interiors in general. It's a really good enzymatic cleaner and it smells like essential oil, which I really like.
Yeah, I my kids loved it. My little granddaughter asked me for this in her Easter basket last year. I said, "What do you want me to get you for Easter?" She said, "I want your biohazard cleaner in my Easter
What?
basket." Like,
That's so
okay,
weird, but
girl.
yet good
She
taste.
she loves cleaning her room with it. She really is
That's
so
so
funny.
funny. Oh my
I
gosh.
know. So we got all-purpose cleaners. But this is my first product right here, my car wash soap. Yep.
Your bug remover is a fantastic one as well. I think that's one of your most popular ones, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, girl, we ship this every single day across the country. I don't know how I'm doing on my camera because I can't
You're doing
see.
fine. You're doing fine. We
Sorry.
can see it.
So yeah, the bug remover is like the superstar. I love that product. We sell it all over the place. I get the most hits on this product from a really, really basic, super amateur video I put on YouTube. I was using it to clean well, there's a lot of farms around here and a lot of flies on like fly shit. They get on vehicles, boats, everything, and you cannot hardly get it off. So one day I was using this on a boat that was here, a boat trailer, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just do a quick little video of this. Seriously, I get so many sales for this bug remover from that really basic YouTube video that was like one of my first videos. It's super amateur, just like what I'm doing right now. I was literally holding my phone like this, shaking and talking, but just showing how awesome this worked on fly shit because we used to not know how to get that off. We'd take magic erasers and scrub it. I mean, we'd spend hours getting that stuff off of vehicles and everything. And now you just spray this on there. And I always say it works like women's mascara. You know, when it gets wet and it just runs. That's
Hmm.
what the bug remover does. You spray it on and it looks like women's mascara getting wet. It just runs down the paint and you rinse it off. It's so easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
you have
then
a couple different dressings. You have a water-based one and then like a they're both water-based, I think, right? Or is
yeah.
one solvent?
No, they're water-based. They're both water-based, but
Okay.
one's a thicker this is a thicker formula. It's a gel
Hmm.
dressing. We like this for, like, tires because we don't get the sling from the spray and stuff, so it's really
Hmm.
more, controlled. My metal polish, we sell a lot of the leather and the metal polish, and we tried really hard to get this green can you see that little,
Yep.
non-hazardous? We tried really hard, not all the products, but I tried to make most of the products, as user-friendly as possible.
Hmm.
Here's one of my new products,
Oh, I
this
haven't tried
stain
that one
remover.
yet.
I gotta send you some. Oh, and I have one more product that we just these are my ceramic infused products, a detox
That
wash
one is a
and
fantastic one as well. Yeah, your ceramic silica infused and then your ceramic waterless, I think were two of my favorite. That one
yeah, I
smells
love
like
those.
watermelon a little bit. Smells really good.
Mhm. I forgot to add this product right here. We literally just
Ooh.
can't see where I'm going. Can you see this one?
Yeah.
It's called Defender. It's an acid cleaner. We get a lot of brake dust on vehicles here in Michigan, and this product is amazing for removing brake dust. You know, the little orange spots that get all over the vehicles from the
Yep.
road salt? Yep. So this product is brand new. I mean, we've been product testing in the shop for a couple years, but I just decided to label it and barcode it and do
Well,
all the
if you want
things.
some reviews, send it to me and I'll do a review for you, Kel.
Oh, I would love it. Do you guys get brake dust out in your
Everyone gets brake dust. But yeah, I mean, I
the
get a
little
lot of
ones?
customers that have ceramic brake pads. They're just
Mhm,
notorious for heavy brake dust. So I've had some
mhm.
pretty doozies the last couple of months. I feel like I don't know. Like when I started detailing, my prices were super cheap and I had crappy cars. And then as I've raised my prices, I've gotten better quality cars. But I feel like the last 6 months, I don't know if certain people have seen the videos and what I can do, that now I'm back to getting crappy cars, but now I'm charging more for them. So, but I'm
Good
still
girl.
I'm having to work harder these days on these details because they're grimy, but they make for good content. I'm not going to
I've
complain.
realized that the more I post of the really, really bad, grimy, horrible ones, then that's all I start getting. But if I
Yeah.
start posting more on the ceramics or something, then I start getting more ceramics. So it's like psychology, right?
I
And
had Adam from Drago's Detailing on last weekend. He said he actually doesn't like posting the crappy cars because he's like you kind of manifesting good quality cars. And I'm like, I should probably listen to that advice because I've had people, they're like, I've seen what you could do with this video. And I'm like, this isn't going to be a good day, but
Yeah.
it's all right. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
Thank you for showing us that. And I mean, for
Yeah.
any of you guys, for anybody who wants to try them out, this isn't a sales pitch by any means, but I love
No.
supporting friends. I love supporting women. I even notice
Thank you.
all of the names of your products have kind of a biblical like
Mm-hmm.
frame to them.
Oh,
The royal reflections. Can you share with us like how you came up with that name? Because I love how you came up with it.
yes, I would love to share that. That's what I was going to say is another God story. So, I got this car wash soap from my chemist, right? And he says, well, I said, what is the next step? What do we do next? And he says, well, you got to come up with a name. You got to come up with a name for your products, and you got to get an attorney. And, he's giving me all these steps. And I'm like, oh, okay. So since my detail shop is showroom auto detailing, I was going to name all my products Showroom Shine because it just
Hmm.
kind of made sense, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, showroom shine. So I find an attorney to do the trademark and patents and stuff. And I call him up and finally get an appointment with him and on the phone and I tell him, what I'm doing. And I needed to trademark and patent names and stuff like that and start this product business. Oh, okay. Yep. He can help me. So I tell him the name and I'm like, okay. He says, well, do you have a name? Of course. Yep. It's Showroom Shine is going to be my product line. So he types it in the computer and he says, nope, that's not available. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, dang it. Because it just seemed like it fit so perfect. So he's like, do you have another name? And I'm like, no, I really thought that was going to be the name. So he's like, well, come up with another name and call me back. So I'm like, okay. So I get my family involved and I'm like, I got to come up with a name for these products. I can't sell a product if it doesn't have a name. So my family's all trying to help me come up with a name. So we come up with Showroom Sparkle was the next name. So I
Wow,
call
wow.
the attorney back. I
Good thing
call
you
the
didn't go
attorney.
with that one.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? So I call the attorney back and I'm like, okay, I think I got a name. And he's an older fella, not a lot of patience. He's already a little irritated with me because I didn't have it together the first time. So I tell him the next name, Showroom Sparkle. He's typing it. He goes, no, you can't use that. And I said, well, why not? And he said, well, nothing with showroom. You can't put the word showroom in it. And I'm like, oh, geez, great. He could have told me
That would have
that
been
before,
nice to know. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, what's the next name? And I'm like, I don't have another name. Thought I was going to get this one. So he's really irritated with me. He says, all right, don't call me back again until you have a name. He's
Jeez, no
frustrated.
pressure.
Yeah. So I would remember thinking, and again, it's the enemy getting in my head, and thinking like, this just isn't meant to be. I'm like, I can't even come up with a name for this product. Like, who am I fooling here? I detail cars. I'm probably not meant to be owner of a product. So this just isn't going to happen. Guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to pray. I didn't pray and ask God. And we're supposed to ask God first, right? So I didn't pray. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I think I was going to do this by myself again? So I start praying and I just told God, like, if this is meant to happen, please help me. Obviously can't do this on my own. Like everything else I try to do, I need your help if this is meant to be. So I'm saying this prayer and I'm looking through my Instagram, because I always feel like God speaks to me either through other people or through social media or TV or something. So I'm looking through my social media, Instagram, and I seen this meme on there I think you've probably seen it. I still see it all the time. It's a lion he's in the image in a mud puddle, but it's really a little kitten looking down into the
Mhm.
mud puddle and he sees this great big lion there, and it's like, it's all about how we, see things. So it was, but the verbiage in it was something about the reflection that you see isn't always what other people see or something, but you got to know that in your heart. So I'm like, reflection, that kind of just stuck with me, the word reflection, because it was just powerful in that image, the reflection. And in detailing, we want a good reflection, right? Like, I don't know if you can see the reflection on that truck we detailed today, but
Looks good.
I'm like, oh, so I'm writing on my little pad of paper, oh, reflections. So I'm like, okay, maybe I have a name, so I'm still scrolling and I'm thinking and I'm praying and I'm asking for direction. And then another image come up and it was like Jesus with the crown of thorns, and it was like, he's the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, and nobody's more royal than the Lord, right? He's on his throne. Even right now, the Lord is on his throne. And I'm like, wow, that's powerful. So I'm thinking royalty. And so I'm like, I just start putting the words together. And that's just how Royal Reflections was just born, just like that, after prayer. So I
That's
called the
awesome.
lawyer back. I was so scared to call this guy back. So I call him back and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, if this isn't available, you'll never hear from me again because I promise I'm not wasting your time no more. So he's like, all right, what have you got? I'll never forget it. So he's typing it in. I could hear him on the phone and the keyboard, and he's typing in and he's saying it. He said it 3 times. Royal Reflections, Royal Reflections, Royal Reflections. And it was like he was digging it, you know? And I'm just sitting there waiting so anxiously. And all of a sudden he goes, it's available. You can have that name. And I'm like, hallelujah.
It's
And
awesome.
I'm having a dance party in my living room. I was so excited. I was like, yes, how did I forget to pray first? And so everything just started coming together. Look at the logo.
I love
I
it.
tried to do it with the crown of thorns, you know, like, but
Yeah.
royalty, but every one of my product names, like you said, well, not every one of them, but they do. I'll pray and I'll open my Bible and I'll just see something like this one's majestic blue, like how majestic is the Lord, right? And then victory, like we have victory in Jesus. This is my new stain remover. We use it in the shop all the time. Victory stain remover.
So is that exterior?
Victory, you can use this on interior or exterior. This is such a fantastic product. We use it on everything. I mean, literally everything. It cleans exterior, it will clean stains off carpet, upholstery, leather. I mean, just it's really awesome. We use
What's
this
is
all
it
the
ready to use?
yeah. Well, it's concentrate, so you can dilute it down. And in the shop, we
Okay.
do dilute it down. We use these are our diluted bottles. We usually dilute it like you can dilute it up to 30 to 1, depending on what you're working on. But when I got hardcore stuff, I'll use it full strength and it just immediately releases. So
What's
I
the
love that
pH
stuff.
on it?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to pull up my STS sheet. I'm not really sure what the pH. It's definitely not pH neutral, but
No, send me that info when you get it. I'm curious to test that out. I'm always looking
yeah.
for a product, one thing that can do many things. So,
Oh, yeah, I know. I love this. It's super versatile for the shop. So you can see our carts. Our carts are kind of a mess, but we love these carts. But yeah, I was just trying to find some other names like, like my liquid spray wax is called Chariot Rapid Wax.
very cool.
Hey, we got our metal polish, full armor. See that full armor metal polish? We got to put on our full armor every day, right? Um, the Bodyguard is our paint sealant wax. Oh, we got our
Bis
divine sign.
Biscuit says, I will always support a business that follows the good Lord. Eddie knows I don't even need the products, but buy anyways and gift them and use them just to test. Well,
Aw, thank
Biscuit,
you.
Kelly, again, this isn't me trying to sales pitch because we're going to talk a little bit more about some of your other business stuff. And I kind of want to talk detailing again, but if
Okay.
people are interested in trying out your products, where can they go to purchase them?
Oh, they can go on www.royalreflections.com.
Okay. All right.
Royalreflections.com. I'm trying to get them in more storefronts, you know, and that's what I need to put on my vision board right now is trying to get some products into more storefronts. So we have them in some local stores here in Michigan, you know, like hardware stores and stuff like that, brick and mortar. But actually, I'm working on a really exciting project. I've been having a team from my church, young fellas that just started like a marketing business, and they do a lot of videos and stuff. They've been coming out helping me do videos and marketing because I just set up an Amazon store. So really soon my products will be on Amazon.
Awesome. That's a huge feat because I mean, there's a lot of red tape I've heard with getting stuff on Amazon. So,
There is. It was a lot of work to get the storefront set up. I have one product on there right now, the double-edged sword. But it might actually not be live at the moment because we're doing some work in the Amazon store, but pretty soon I should have my Amazon store live. So I'm super excited about that. Been a
okay.
lot of challenges with it. Amazon is not easy.
I can imagine. I've had a lot of friends that try to get stuff on there and then they can get it on, but normally it ends up going away because you have to have like $10,000 or something like to buy like even a lot or something like that. It's quite
Mhm.
involved. So,
Yeah.
all right. So we talked a little bit about your product line. We've talked a little bit about how you grew your business. What are some of the other businesses? Because I don't think most people understand like what all you're involved with, and I kind of want to know like what made you want to branch out of detailing, and how do you manage it all? Because it's a lot.
It is a lot. It is so much and it's hard, but my family is so supportive. My mom and dad helped me so much. My kids, well, my baby's heading off to college in a couple months. He's turning 18. That's been a real
Mm.
bittersweet time in my life because my whole life has revolved around my kids and their help and their support. And now they've all grown up on me. So
You're a
that's going to be,
grandma now, even.
I'm a Mimi.
You would never, you don't look like a Mimi.
My mom is the grandma. I always say my mom could keep the grandma title, but I'm not ready for the grandma. I'm a Mimi. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I love them. They're so precious. But
Oh,
yeah, so I decided to branch out in another thing, just in deep prayer, because the detailing was getting hard, during the COVID time. And just as I've been doing it for a while, it's taken a toll on my body and it's hard to get help that really cares. I feel like that's one of the biggest mistakes I've made, is just letting people stay around for too long and giving people too many chances. I should have been quicker to fire, I feel like, because sometimes the wrong people can really hurt your business. And I've experienced that firsthand, because they don't have a care. Like, you really have to care about what you're doing. You really have to take pride in this job and really not kind of halfway it. You know what I mean?
well, what do you
And
think are good qualities to look for in a employee?
somebody that's not afraid to get their hands dirty. When these girls, and bless their heart, I love them so much. They'll come in and they got long nails and they, their makeup's done perfect. I'm like, girlfriend, you are not gonna like this
Yeah.
job. I love you. I love
There's
you
a
so much.
reason
And
why I have no fingernails. Yours are longer than mine. I can't even keep them. I can't even paint
oh,
them.
oh my gosh, I know. I did have one girl, she worked and she did have beautiful long, acrylic nails on, and she ripped one of her nails off. It was only like a couple weeks of work in here or something. And I think, yeah, she was done. It was so bad. It was very painful, bleeding. It ripped her, she got it stuck in, she's cleaning something and it got stuck and it ripped her original nail right out. Oh,
The things
that
guys
was
will
a bad
never
day.
understand.
No, no. So I have
We
to
have
be
to
sure
deal
that
with all the long hair and they just have facial hair. That's it. So,
I know, yeah, I know. Yeah,
but
it's tough.
so someone who can work hard, what are some other things that you would recommend if someone wants to hire an employee? What are some qualities that you would recommend they look for?
Well, that's interesting. I really think that what I do is I'll usually let people, I tell them it's an on the job like tryout, right? Because a lot of people be like, oh yeah, I love cleaning a car. I love cleaning a car. And then when they really get in the shop and they get into how we do it and how intense it is and detailed it is, right? Anybody can clean a car. They can vacuum
Yeah.
a car and wipe down the dash, but we're talking getting in the vents and in all the nooks and crannies. And,
Hmm.
sometimes that's way too tedious for people. I've had people come in and they tell me, I love cleaning. I love detailing. I want this job. I say, okay, we set up a time. I say, come on in. We're going to do an on the job interview. We're going to I'm going to show you how to do a door panel. Then you're going to do a door panel. I'm going to show you
Hmm.
how to do a section. And then you're going to do a section. And I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of people that will say to me, no, this is not for me. I had no idea. And
Yeah.
I say, it's okay. At least you tried it and now you know. But yeah, a lot of people just have no idea what it entails. They really don't.
Celtic Interior Shine asks, what is your standard operating procedures for interior cleaning?
Oh, I should share that with you because I designed a whole order of operations and SOPs for the classes that I teach. So I have it very, very specifically broken down. So I don't know how I would post that, but yeah, I have documents that I give to my students on all the SOPs and order of operations on how we do everything.
Well,
Hmm.
maybe Paul, you could message Kelly and hook up via message, and maybe she can share that with you. But what
Yeah.
are, if you could just like nutshell, what are some of the basics for your standard operating procedures?
On the interior.
Hmm.
So the very first thing we do on an interior is we would fill out, we have like a little instruction sheet, right? So like say the client doesn't want their glove box cleaned out, it goes on the instruction sheet. So we fill out our instruction sheet first and they're laminated. We use a wipe off markers, like dry erase markers. So we get our sheet ready. And then what we do first is we go through the car and get out any of the personal belongings at the customer. So we package everything up into their goodie bags, right? Because we don't want to disrupt that stuff as we're vacuuming. So we go through and we package up all the goodies. We call them the goodies, all the junk in the car that the customer left behind. So we safely package everything up. And then we go through, and what we do first is a pre-vacuum. and blow it under the seats, and we'll do like a rough pre-vacuum because a lot of our interiors are bad. So we'll go through and do a full pre-vacuum first, take the floor mats out, put them in the wash bay. So we'll usually hit the floor mats, the weather techs and stuff right inside of the car with the vacuum, and then take them into the wash bay because I'm super crazy. You can see my floors. We mop
They
them
are
just about every day.
spotless. They are
I do
spotless.
not like a mess. So yeah, we mop the floors all the time and we keep the floors clean. So I'm always crazy about, I don't want you to dump the floor mats out on the floor because a lot of times when you're doing exterior, you're down on the floor,
Yeah.
doing work. So I don't want to be sitting in a pile of dirt. So that's how we do it. We pre-vacuum everything, take the mats out, put them to the wash bay. Depending on the door jambs, a lot of times, even for an interior, it goes to the wash bay first because we'll power wash out and degrease the door jambs first. So if
Mhm.
we do that, then, it goes to wash bay first, then it'll come over to the dry side. And then we'll do the whole pre-vacuum. And then we have the carts. I don't know if you've seen those carts over
Mhm.
there, but I love the carts. We got all of our supplies on our carts, our little wheelie carts, and then you just grab an air hose, which, I don't know if you can see them because I can't get my phone,
Yep,
but
I
on
see it.
the yeah, we have air hoses hanging on all the walls and you just pull them up and then get your air hose, and then so they're so pre-vacuum and then blowing out underneath the seats and everything. And then we go back and we'll start in the driver's section, do a full door panel, and then just start working our way in from the inside out, vacuuming and then working our way down with, from the ceiling to the floor. We don't
Nice.
always do a headliner clean. We always look at the headliner and vacuum it, but if it doesn't need like
Yeah.
a full scrubbing, we do not do that because there's so many headliners that if you just try to spot clean it, it'll leave a big ring there, and then you got
Mhm.
a whole nother issue. Then you're doing a whole headliner that didn't need to be done. So a
Yep.
lot of times you can take a dry towel and just wipe the headliner, and sometimes little smudges will come right out without even having to get it wet at all. So we usually do that on the headliner, and then we just keep working our way down and then go section by section around the car. And then once we have it prepped, we call that like the detail prep work, right? So
Mhm.
you're doing everything in there. Then we do an inspection, and then usually somebody that doesn't work on the car will have inspect the car with our little checklist because in case something was missed, we like
A
to catch
fresh
it,
eye.
obviously.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, we always have a fresh eye. We have a checks and balance system on everything we do here, even on our orders. So whoever packages up the order, someone else checks it before it gets taped up and ready to ship. So I learned that in the banking industry, we always had to do checks and balances, right?
Mhm.
So we do that in the detail shop. So then after somebody does all the preliminary work on the car, then we do a quick inspection. And then if it's okay, then we'll shampoo and shine and do windows. So we always do
Nice.
windows inside and out on an interior. Yep. And then we always make sure the goodie bags are back in there. And we always give them an air freshener and business card and some goodies in there. So
You are
that,
really giving them the royal treatment.
yeah, we try to.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So what are some of the other businesses that you developed? Let's touch on that quickly. I don't want to keep you
Okay.
too much longer.
That's okay. So I own obviously showroom auto detailing and Royal Reflections, a product line. I also own an axe throwing business. It's called Rebel Axe Throwing. So it's super fun. And then I own Rebel Fitness. It's a gym fitness center, 24/7 fitness, with tanning and stuff like that in there. So I love that business. And then my newest business is a wellness center. So I have a functional medicine practice and a full wellness center. So we have foot detoxes, infrared saunas, sauna beds. We have, we do tons of like vitamin IVs. Those are amazing. Have you ever had a vitamin IV infusion?
Mm-mm.
Super
I've
awesome.
always wanted to do it. I've heard amazing things from them. My uncle
Mm-hmm.
actually has colon cancer and it's pretty
Oh,
aggressive. And they've had to do surgery and he had to do intensive bouts with radiation and chemotherapy
mm-hmm.
and ended up they have started to do vitamin C, like high
Yep.
doses,
Yep.
vitamin C
Yeah.
infusions,
Yep.
and he actually so he had to this is probably TMI, but he had to have like a bag on the outside
Mm-hmm.
while he was healing after his surgery. And
Mm-hmm.
they didn't think he'd ever be able to have that removed. After two infusions, his body was healed enough that they were able to reverse the bag. I'm
Wow.
not saying he is cancer free, but it has done great things to just
Yeah.
help heal his body. So,
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many success stories like that with people that want a holistic approach to battling their full
mhm.
cancer battle. Like there's a lot of women with breast cancer, with lymphatic cancers that are doing the high dose vitamin C therapy, a lot of parasite cleanses, ivermectin. I mean, there's just we could do a whole nother podcast
Yeah.
on wellness because I'm so crazy about it. And I've witnessed it in my own body, in my family and friends. And I have so many stories to talk about with natural healing. It's just become a huge passion of mine now. So yeah, absolutely love it.
Is that how you're able to detail at 50? Can I share your age, 50? Is that how you're
I'm
able
going
to
to
do
be,
it, by just
yeah,
focusing on your health and wellness?
yes.
Because 'Cause I'm 40 and it's killing me.
Yes, girl, I'm going to be 50 in 10 months. So I have this goal to literally be in the very best shape of my life. So I own a gym, I own a wellness center. And so I do vitamin infusions, I do vitamin injections. I love getting like glutathione is my new favorite. I like B12. Gosh, what else do I do? Vitamin infusions are just amazing. I have saunas. So I think you said something to me earlier and it really like hit me. And it's like, I build businesses based on things that I want, but I don't want to spoil myself. So I share them with others. I'm trying to stay humble, you know? So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I can get saunas if I
What's
open a
next,
business.
Kelly? What's next?
So
Holy
yeah,
cow.
yeah, it's so awesome. But yeah, that's how I got into it. I started getting this arthritis in my hands and I started seeing my natural doctor and I started doing a lot of infrared therapy, taking like turmeric is really, really good, fish oil, you know. So I started getting into taking supplements and I just started noticing such a huge improvement in my hair, my skin, my
What are the
nails.
benefits of turmeric? Because I've had a lot of people recommend that to me, and I know they do the turmeric with black pepper or something like that because it helps your body absorb it. What are the benefits of that?
Oh yeah, turmeric has a lot of benefits. It's like a natural antibiotic almost, but it's super anti-inflammatory. So that's why it helps so much with the arthritis because it helps with the inflammation. It's a night and day difference. I love turmeric. I'm a huge advocate for it. There's just more and more studies coming out on it, but yeah, I can tell when I don't take it because my hands will get stiff, you know, and I have a rough time. And in diet too, you know, like if I eat junk and I eat salty foods, especially salty foods. I had a bunch of nachos and cheese last night while I was watching the presidential. I know,
You were
and
binge eating.
I know I was like stress eating. Yeah, I was binge eating. I was
I
like,
just get the
oh,
popcorn out. It was a show. It was a show, that's
yeah.
for sure.
I know I should have chose popcorn, but I got nachos and cheese instead, and I my hands hurt this morning, but I took some extra turmeric, so they're good now.
So
But
pretty much every detailer should take turmeric. Maybe that's what you should do. Have a detailer product line of like supplements to help us with our body aches and pains.
I'm
Oh.
telling you what, it is amazing. And I really believe in infrared therapy too. Infrared saunas are so amazing. I have one at my gym now too, and my clients or my members up there absolutely love it. We have members all the way up to 88. I got the sweetest little lady. She comes in there and she's 88. She comes in almost every day just to use the infrared sauna. She loves it. She had a hip replacement, I think, and a shoulder surgery. So her body's, you know, she was in a lot of pain and just using that infrared therapy, she's like, I don't have to take any pain medicine. It's just amazing for her. So those kind of stories are what motivate me, you know, they really do. That's what keeps me going, I feel like.
Steve's making fun of us. He says this is turning to a detailer's vacation spot. Hit the spa, polish a hood, get a massage with some vitamins, foam some panels. Honestly, Steve, we need to take care of ourselves. It's funny he
Mhm.
would say that. I got a massage today for the first time in like 2 years, and it was divine. And I was like, why don't I
Nice.
take more of these? They discovered so many knots in my back and shoulders that I was like, yep, that was from vacuuming that car for 3 hours the other day.
Girl, we
But
do have to
it
take care
is,
of ourselves.
we
You know
do.
what? I just found out one more tip. I just fell in love with a foam roller. Have you ever used a foam roller? It's
Foam roller.
amazing.
I have
Yeah.
so I don't know the brand. I have like three different sizes, like a big one, medium, and a smaller one. And because I have a lot of back problems, I see a chiropractor like once a month.
Hmm.
A holistic chiropractor. They don't do like intense popping. They do like minor adjustments and they'll let your body heal itself.
Nice.
I'm kind of tipping my toes into the holistic stuff. I can't go full blown, but maybe you can teach me a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, those roller balls, like after a good detail, I would just like spread eagle and just roll. My kids are like, "What is going on?" I look like I'm doing Christmas angels in the carpet and just like rolling back and forth, but they
Yeah.
definitely feel good.
Yeah, don't sleep on the foam roller. Those things are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use them after my workouts too because I hired a personal trainer, so I've been trying to work out a little extra
I
hard.
see you getting ripped over there, girl. I mean,
I'm
at
trying.
50,
I'm trying not to let 50 take me down.
I don't want 40 to take me down. You're definitely setting the bar high over here. So, but
That's so
Kelly,
sweet.
I think you have such an amazing story when it comes to detailing, as far as like how you've been able to just put your trust in the Lord and just seek him in everything that you do. I think it's extremely commendable. I feel like more people need inspiration these days. I see a lot of people striving for success and
Mhm,
then just kind of in this constant pursuit of it, and it's never fulfilling. I've had a couple people on my show, and that's like a resounding thing that I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs. Like, I'm always looking for more, and then
mhm,
I'll ask them the question, like, do you have peace? Like, do you feel satisfied? Like, do you feel content? And they're like, no, I don't. Like, for you, do you feel like you can be satisfied with where you're at, or as an entrepreneur and as a Christian, like, do you feel like there's anything wrong with wanting more? And I know there's a lot, it's a lot there, but I'm curious about that thought as someone who's a Christian and entrepreneur. Like, how do you dream big but find contentment in the Lord?
Well, I feel like God brings him glory, right? I feel like he designed us to be successful and healthy. He didn't design us to live defeated and in poverty. I don't believe that. I believe that, just like the verses say, all things are possible through the Lord, right? All things are possible. So that means dream big, right? All things, anything you can think is possible. So I always just feel like I look at some people in the Bible on business and stuff, and I think of like, I love the Proverbs 31 woman. She was a
Mm.
businesswoman, right? And she
And she
brought
didn't
so much.
sleep.
No.
She rose up early and took care of her family. And I can't, I feel like that's unattainable, but it's lofty. It's lofty. I mean, as a mom who is doing what I'm doing, I can't even imagine. Like, when do you sleep? When do you sleep? How do you find time for it all?
I do sleep though, because I've started to prioritize sleep because I found out in recovery with working out and stuff like that, sleep is important. Nutrition, sleep, and even in the wellness, really getting into holistic medicine. So I'm in school right now to become a naturopathic doctor. So right now I'm actually in classes to be a naturopathic practitioner, like a nurse practitioner. So I'm almost done with that. So pretty soon I'll be Dr. Kelly over here. So we'll have to have another podcast. But yeah, so I'm in the doctorate program for naturopathic medicine. So I'm learning so much in the holistic part of it, right? Is mind, body, and soul. So you have to take care of your sleep is so important. Your nutrition is so important. Moving your body and exercising is so important, right? And really spirituality and really our higher power and our higher self, right? And giving the glory to God. And I just feel like, you have to have all of those pieces in order to have that piece and to put that puzzle together. And I can't stress it enough. I used to go off of like 4 or 5 hours because I'd be so stressed at night and I just would be trying to do stuff in my own power. And now I just pray and I give it to God and I sleep like a baby. I take magnesium before I go to bed, though. That is a game changer.
That
Take
has been a game
magnesium.
changer. I've started, so this is probably TMI, but I've started, being 40, I take natural supplements for moods and things like that. Magnesium, though, to help with my ADHD, a different variety. Oxide isn't that'll do another thing. But glycinate,
Yeah.
carbonate,
Yep.
the ones that will help with your mind.
Hmm.
But definitely probiotics have helped with just better health, better feeling. I take berberine to help
Oh,
with
that's good.
balancing sugar, the
Yep.
turmeric with black pepper. My husband walks in and I've got like, I vitamin D3, and I have like all these pills. He's like, "Are you sick?" And I'm like, "No, I'm trying not to be sick." I'm like, but it is
I
true. I
know.
mean, the older we get, for those of you who are watching, it's physically demanding, and we got to take better care. But supplements, I feel like, are the thing to help prevent
Hmm.
needing the fake chemicals. But
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. So yeah, I do try to sleep. I try to aim for 7 hours. I found the key to that is I put my phone on do not disturb after like
mm,
11 p.m. So at 11 p.m., the only people that can get a hold of me are my kids or my parents. And I've had to do that because that was what was interrupting me a lot. I'd get emails coming through and then I'm so OCD. I would try to return these emails that come through at 1 o'clock in the morning because they wake me up and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. So now I have my phone set on do not disturb from 11 p.m. till 6 a.m.
wow. And
Mhm.
so what are some of the things that have helped you become efficient with managing your time beyond setting, these restrictions with your phone at night and getting sleep?
I would say I'm a list person. So at the end of the day, I like to make checks on my list. So I feel like a list is really important for me for accountability, right? I feel like I really need to make that list and I can prioritize things, right? Because it's super easy for me to get sidetracked with all my businesses, or I get talking to somebody for too long. And then before you know it, I'm not checking things off my list that really need to be done. So for me, lists have been important. Right now, I'm trying to really prioritize meal prepping because I'm really trying to dial in my nutrition, and that's hard to do, you know? So I'm trying to prioritize things like that to where I've got all my meals already in the refrigerator. All I got to do is pull one out, pop it in the microwave. I don't even have to think about my meals. So I've been doing a lot of meal prepping on Sundays. Sundays are my days to go to church, get my groceries, meal prep, plan the week ahead. So I'm trying to just do little things like that that actually make a big difference when you're not trying to scavenger like, oh, where am I going to go for lunch? And plus it saves so much money because I'm meal prepping and making stuff at home. I'm not going out to eat all the time, and all those extra calories and all the processed foods and all the junk, or not eating at all, and then I'm ending up in a real situation by the end of the day because I haven't ate and my sugar's dropping, and then I'm not focused, and so it's just been crazy. So meal prepping has been huge for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. I know there's a couple people that have just joined on. I normally start at 8 o'clock, and we had to
Oh.
shift a little bit because I have kids and they're always literally standing at the door like by 9:30 and they're like, it's time for bed. So we moved it to 7. I'm kind of
Oh.
curious for those that are watching. Would you rather this be at 8 p.m. or at 7 p.m.? Let me know. I might actually have to go back to 8 p.m. because my daughter now has soccer practice from 5:30 to 7. So the
Aw.
flexibility of a mom, but I'm kind of curious for those that are watching, which time you would prefer that we start, 7 or 8. So let me know. But as far as the detailing industry, you're part of the IDA, correct?
Yes.
And you were you what IDA Woman of the Year, what, 2022 was that? Or
No,
what
it
year was
wasn't
that?
IDA. No, I won a Female Detailer of the Year award for the Southern Detailers Conference in
That was it.
2022.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it
Yep.
was something and I knew it was 2022. I didn't know if it was IDA, but so Southern Detailers Conference. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
What are some of the things that you think are um, working well within the industry? And what are some things I've asked the last couple of podcasts this question, and it's always led to some interesting conversation. What are some things you think need to be improved upon within the detailing industry as you see it?
Oh Lord, there's a lot of things I think could be improved in the detailing industry. I've kind of stepped back a little bit to tell you the truth because
Okay.
the drama is overwhelming. I cannot stand it. I can't stand all the drama that's involved in the industry. And I feel like I've said this in other podcasts before too, is my axe throwing business is also pretty male dominated industry, right? But I'm in so many different groups with World Axe Throwing League and different groups on Facebook and stuff. And when I'll put a question out there in the axe throwing group about a tournament or how they're doing a certain thing, people will just reply like crazy. You'll get hundreds of people just trying to help you, and they're so kind and so generous, and they'll send you videos on how to do, whatever, the certain types of tournaments or whatever. I mean, they're just so overwhelmingly friendly in the detailing industry. So for a while, I don't think I am anymore, but I was a moderator on the Detailing for Money group, which you might
Hmm.
or might not be. Oh yeah, you are
I
too,
was
aren't
too.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like the only
Well,
women.
yeah, it would blow my mind. Some of the comments. So somebody's asking a legit question. They have a question. And then you would see some of these comments come in and it's like, oh my word, can you possibly be any more rude, disrespectful, mean, ugly, harsh? Like they're asking a question. They might be new. Let's just give them a solid answer. But I feel
Mhm.
like that's how the detailing industry is. I don't understand really why, if it's because it's and I hate to say such an entry level business to get into, right? But it is. You don't need a lot of money. Look at how I got into it with Q-tips and toothbrushes and an old shop vac. You don't need a lot of overhead to get into detailing cars. And I think that the the professionalism needs to be raised in detailing because it is a great business and it can be a remarkable business. I built all of my other companies from detailing cars. I've raised my kids. I've had a great life from detailing cars. But I just think the level of professionalism in the detailing industry is very low
Yeah. I
in it.
think. I think as I've gotten to know people, I've realized that it really only takes one to spoil the whole bunch, but there really are some amazing people within this industry. And I think I've been challenged to just try to be the change that I want to see.
I
And
love that about you. I love that about you. Ever since I first met you, you're so humble and you're so just conservative about everything. You're not doing your podcast or your YouTube videos in a bikini, like you're
no
bringing
one wants
respect.
to see that, Kelly. No one. Maybe.
Sorry, I gotta set my phone up there. I need
No,
a drink.
you're fine.
But seriously, like I've always liked that about you. You don't get all dialed up and not that that's fine. You can do that. But at the same time, I love how you are so professional in your videos and you're non-biased and you give a good solid review on products that you test and stuff. And I love that about you. You're authentic. I love that about you.
Thank you. I mean, for me, I treat people the way that I would want to be treated. I
Mhm.
value authenticity. I think that's why I've always been drawn to you because I feel like you are reciprocative with that authenticity. You've never, pretended to
Thank
be
you.
someone you're not. So, but yeah, I honestly, I think you have one of the most amazing stories when it comes to coming from losing everything to building what you've had. Any of you guys have any last minute questions that you want to ask Kelly before we wrap this up? I know a couple people had some questions about supplements. Someone
Oh,
wanted to know,
really?
what form of B12 do you take?
What form? Always the methylated version. You always want a methylcobalamin version because it is the most compatible with the body. You don't want the cytocobalamin, the junk that's in the energy drinks.
Okay.
Stay away from that one. But the methylated is the best. Hmm.
Okay. And let's see, I'm just trying to go through here real quick just to make sure we didn't miss any questions. J Farm. Easy with the big words, Chelsea. I know, I almost stumbled on it too. I love how you guys just call me out on stuff. It's totally fine. All right. Well, Kelly, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I feel like if any of you are wanting to have a story to be inspired by of what can happen, if you dream big, yours is definitely one of those. Next week, we're actually planning on having Hudson Archer on the show. For those of you that haven't heard of him, he is an 18-year-old detailer who, I mean, literally started off, I think at the age of 15 or 16 detailing and was making like $60,000 a year detailing, which we're all like, not jealous. It's fine. But this kid is doing amazing things within the industry. So we're going to hear yet another inspiring story next week. So make sure you guys tune in to ask Hudson Archer his questions. He is doing amazing things with social media, with SEO, with just marketing and things like that. So for those that want some tips, make sure you guys tune in next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But seriously, thank you, Kelly, for taking the time to show with us your shop, share with us your story. I wish you nothing but success. And for those of you that want to try out any of her products, I encourage you guys support small business, support, women of God. I think you're doing amazing things within the industry and just in
Thank
life in
you.
general. So keep at it,
Thank
girl. You're
you.
doing great things.
Thank you so much. This has
No
been really
problem.
fun. Thank you for asking me to come on.
My pleasure. I wish you nothing but success. And guys, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. Have a great night. All right, hang on, one quick. Dark Dragon wants to know, and I should have said this, where to find Kelly's socials. Kelly, how can they find you on social media?
I need to up my social media game, honestly. I do
Let's
have
start the
I have
episode all
Facebook.
over again. No, just kidding. Do
I
you have
do.
a Royal Reflections Facebook page, or is it
Yeah.
Showroom Auto Shine?
No, it's Showroom Auto Detailing. I do have a Facebook page and I have an Instagram page, but I always forget to post on Instagram. But I do have Facebook and Instagram pages, and I have a TikTok for the products too. There's a TikTok page for Royal Reflections and my personal Kelly Jones page. So yeah, I have so Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I have a Royal Reflections page on all of those and a Kelly Jones page on all of those, and then Showroom Auto Detailing is just on Instagram and Facebook. And then
Okay.
Royal Reflections has a YouTube channel, but I don't think I've posted on it for probably 2 years now. I need to do
I
that
mean,
again.
why, Kelly? You're so busy.
I know.
Maybe you should hire someone to take care of that for you.
Chelsea, you'd be perfect.
Oh, geez, are you kidding me? I have like 3 jobs already. But if any of you want to help Kelly out, maybe shoot her a line. I'm sure she'd appreciate the support. All
Yes,
right. Well, make
definitely.
sure you guys follow Kelly for those of you that have asked questions and want to get to know her more. But all right, guys, for real. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next episode, all right?
Thanks.
All right.